Beginning, the Court of Perfect Blood. The Hall of Constellations had been built to intimidate. Its ceiling was a living map of the galaxy, stars pulsing softly in slow orbits, each one marking a conquered system of the Valerian Empire. Pillars of black crystal rose like frozen lightning from the floor, etched with the names of royal bloodlines that had ruled for tens of thousands of years. The air itself carried the faint metallic scent of power, ozone from shield generators, pheromonal markers of dominance released unconsciously by the nobles gathered there. I did not belong. I stood at the very edge of the hall, dressed in the simple gray uniform of a human diplomatic aide, hands clasped behind my back, eyes lowered just enough to avoid offense. Humans were still considered novelties in Valerian space, useful, adaptable, but far too young as a species to be taken seriously. Today, however, I was present for something far older than politics. A mating convocation. The nobles formed a semicircle around the raised obsidian dais, where Queen Valethria sat upon the throne of echoes. Her crown grown, not forged, curved backward like living bone, pulsing faintly with bioluminescent veins. She was immense, even-seated, her forearms resting rigidly at her sides, her golden eyes scanning the court with restrained fury. Beside the throne stood Princess Erin. She was tall, even for her kind, her posture straight but unnaturally still. Where other Valerians radiated arrogance, she radiated restraint, like a weapon sheathed too tightly. Her skin bore faint silver patterns that shifted when the light touched them, marks of immense psionic potential. Marks that frightened everyone. One by one, the noble houses had spoken. House KRYTH refused, citing unstable resonance patterns. House Vel refused, citing incompatible future offspring projections. House Theroin refused, bluntly stating that the princess was too powerful to control. Each refusal landed like a physical blow. I watched Queen Valethria's claws curl slowly into the armrests of her throne. Finally, when the last house had spoken, silence fell. It was not the respectful silence of ceremony. It was the kind that followed an execution. The queen rose. Her voice, when she spoke, cracked the air like a splitting star. "No one wants my daughter as a mate." Her words echoed through the hall, carried by acoustic fields meant to immortalize royal decrees. This time, they immortalized pain. "She is too strong for you," the queen continued, her composure unraveling. "Too independent. Too dangerous. You fear what you cannot dominate." The nobles avoided her gaze. Then the queen did something no Valerian monarch had done in recorded history.
She cried.
Not softly, not privately. Her shoulders trembled, and her voice broke as she finished. "If my bloodline ends because of your cowardice, then this empire deserves to fall." No one moved. No one breathed. And then, against every instinct screaming in my body to stay still, I stepped forward. Middle, the human who should not have spoken. The sound of my boots on the polished obsidian floor echoed like a weapon discharge. Every head in the hall snapped toward me. Queen Valethria's tears froze mid-fall. Princess Erin turned slowly, her eyes widening just enough to betray shock. I stopped at the center of the hall, heart pounding so loudly I was certain the acoustics would betray me. I raised my head fully, meeting the queen's gaze, an act that alone could have earned me execution. "I will," I said. My voice carried farther than it should have. "I will stand as her mate." For a full 5 seconds, the galaxy held its breath. Then the hall erupted. Shouts of outrage. Psionic flares igniting like solar storms. Nobles rising from their seats in fury and disbelief. A human. This is mockery. He doesn't even possess a lineage node. The queen raised one hand. Silence slammed back into place. She descended from the throne slowly, each step deliberate. When she stopped before me, she towered overhead, her presence pressing against my mind like a gravitational field. "Human," she said quietly, "do you understand what you are offering?" "Yes," I replied. "I understand exactly what everyone here refuses to see." Her eyes narrowed. I turned, sweeping my gaze across the nobles. "You don't fear the princess because she's unsuitable," I said. "You fear her because she doesn't need you, because she can't be owned, because your power structures depend on weakness disguised as tradition." A low growl rippled through the court. I continued anyway. "Humans don't choose mates based on control. We choose based on partnership. Strength isn't something to suppress, it's something to stand beside." Princess Erin's breath hitched. The queen studied me for a long moment. Then she turned to her daughter. "Erin," she said softly, "do you reject this bond?" The princess hesitated. Then she stepped forward. "I do not," she said. "But you should know something." She turned to the court, her psionic field flaring for the first time. The air vibrated, crystal pillars humming in resonance. "My power is not unstable," Erin said. "It is restrained. Every day of my life, I have held myself back so others would feel safe." Her gaze found mine. This human did not flinch. The nobles recoiled. One stepped forward, Lord Theruin, armored and furious. "This is madness," he roared. "If she bonds with a human, her power could change everything?" I finished calmly. "Yes," he snapped. "Good," I said. That was when the trials were declared. Middle, trials of worth, not blood. Valerian law could not deny a formal claim once spoken before the throne, but it could challenge it. The trial of worth was ancient, brutal, and designed to expose weakness. They expected me to break. The first trial tested endurance, psionic pressure meant to shatter minds. I endured by grounding myself, breathing, remembering Earth's skies and gravity and rain. The second tested loyalty, temptations of power and rank offered if I withdrew. I refused without hesitation. The third tested compatibility. They placed Erin and me inside a resonance chamber meant to amplify emotional and mental bonds, or tear mismatched pairs apart. The chamber activated. Pain flooded my skull. And then clarity. I felt her. Not dominance. Not hunger. Loneliness. Centuries of being feared. Of being praised only for potential destruction. Of never being touched without caution. I reached for her hand. She stiffened, then relaxed. Our resonance stabilized the chamber. The judges stared in disbelief as their readings locked into perfect harmonic balance. "This is impossible," one whispered. "No," the queen corrected. "It is unprecedented." Ending. A new definition of strength. The final verdict was delivered at dawn. The queen stood once more upon the throne of echoes, but this time, her voice was steady. "By ancient law and present truth," she declared, "this bond is accepted." The hall remained silent, not in grief, but in awe. She descended once more, stopping before us. "You stepped forward when an empire looked away," she said to me. "For that, you will be more than a mate." She turned to the nobles. "You will be an example." Erin took my hand openly now. Her grip was warm.
"Certain."
Later, as the stars shifted above the hall, she leaned close and spoke softly.
"You knew what would happen," she said.
"You still stepped forward." I smiled faintly. Someone had to. She looked at me, not as a weapon, not as a princess, but as a woman finally seen. And for the first time in Valerian history, strength was no longer something to fear. It was something to stand beside. Final ending note for narration close. The empire did not collapse.
It evolved.
And it began the moment a human refused to let a queen cry alone.